Swayam Prabha. Digital India. Educated India.
Welcome, dear students, dear learners. In this lecture, we are going to discuss parental dosage forms. Parentals are one of the most, can say, sophisticated kind of dosage forms. And in this series of lectures, we will be discussing the parental dosage form also. What are these parental dosage forms? Let's discuss in this lecture. What we are going to learn after completing this lecture, you will be able to understand the fundamentals, concepts, advantages and disadvantages of parental dosage forms, the requirement of parental dosage forms, rules of administration of parental products and their suitability. Important pre-formulation factors to be taken into consideration before formulating a parental product. Now, what is our lesson plan? We'll be discussing introduction of parentals and their principal characteristics, their advantages, disadvantages of parentals, rules of administration of parental, pre-formulation of parental products with respect to some specific pre-formulation we are going to address, solubility, pH, pK, crystal characteristics, chemical modification and polymorphism. Parentals as a dosage form, you know that the dosage forms are of three types: solid, semi-solid and liquid. And parental is one of the kind of liquid dosage form. Okay, liquid dosage form may be oral or may be injectable in general. However, there may be some other liquid dosage forms which may be applied topically also, but in general oral or injectable. Okay, now parental, what does it mean? You know very well. Para, outside, antron, intestine. It means whatever is being administered other than the intestinal route is called parenteral. And what is the standard pharmacopoeial requirement for a parenteral dosage form? Number one is sterility. Number two, non-pyrogenicity. And number three, particulate matter. The size range must be less than 0.5 micron. So sterility, there must not be any microbial contamination. Okay, sterility, absolute sterility. Non-pyrogenicity, no pyrogens should be there. And obviously the particulate matter must not be there. Okay, these are the three major standard pharmacopoeial requirements for parenteral dosage forms. So sterility we have discussed in our undergraduates also, and you might have discussed this thing in earlier aspect. Non-pyrogenicity, the Lal test and all that, okay, we have discussed in undergraduates also, and the particulate matter's importance we know very well. Okay. Now let me discuss the advantages of parenteral dosage form. Just to recall them, first is the onset of action is quick. Okay. Bioavailability is 100%. They are useful for unconscious, vomiting and non-cooperative patients. You cannot give the oral dosage form to these kind of patients. So that's why the parenteral dosage form are the only solution, you can say. Duration of action can be prolonged by modifying the formulations even. It is also possible, not just in oral formulation, it is also possible in parenteral dosage forms. Okay, so we will discuss it. I think you might have studied in the parental controlled drug delivery systems. Okay, they are suitable for nutritives like the glucose and electrolytes. Parenteral nutrition you might have studied. Do you know the parenteral nutrition is one of the fastest nutrition which we can deliver to the body system. They are suitable for the drugs which are inactivated in the gastrointestinal tract or the GI fluid, hydrochloric acid. For example, beta-lactam antibiotics like penicillin G, penicillin V, they are cleaved, or you can say they are degraded by the GI, pH, or the hydrochloric acid, you can say. So that's why in other cases also, wherever there is no possibility of giving the drug through the oral dosage form, we can deliver the drug in the parenteral dosage form. Okay. Now, this way, these were the quick advantages. Though there are so many advantages, okay, but we are pinpointing the things with respect to the covering our syllabi. Disadvantage of parenterals, they are given by only the trained persons. Only trained persons are required. If it is given by the wrong route, it is difficult to control the adverse effect. No, anyone can't administer the injectables. In case of overdose, it is difficult to save the patient when administered through parenteral route. The sensitivity or the allergic reactions at the site of action may occur. They require strict control of sterility and non-pyrogenicity as compared to other formulations. This is our utmost requirement. Sterility, as we have discussed, that in the pharmacopoeial standard requirement, the sterility is the topmost requirement. Once injected, cannot be controlled. You cannot retreat it because it has already entered into the systemic circulation. Okay, so that's why it is irreversible. The effect may be irreversible. Injections may cause pain at the site of administration. Obviously, it is a invasive technique. You have to pierce the needle through the skin to deliver the drug through the injectables. Now let me discuss the properties of parenterals. First, topmost property what we discussed, sterility. Each and every dosage form must be free from viable and non-viable microorganisms. It should be free from particulate matter. We have discussed that the particulate matter must be less than that certain 0.5 micron range. Clear transparent solution it must be in most of the cases. Though in suspension kind of injectables, little bit turbidity may be there, but the particulate matter must not be beyond the certain limit. Okay. It must be stable in different conditions of temperature and humidity, and also with the biological environment. Say for example, if you are injecting a drug through the skin, it must be stable there beneath the skin. If we are administering through the subcutaneous route or other kind of routes, it should be isotonic. It means the osmotic pressure or the colligative properties must be equivalent. That solution's colligative properties must be equivalent to the colligative property of the blood or the biological fluid. So we will be discussing the isotonicity also in the later lecture, but you must remember the isotonicity is the one of the important criteria. Otherwise, lot many adverse effect may be there. Solvents or vehicles used must meet special purity standards. Dear learners, we cannot use any water here. We have to use, pyrogen free distilled water. Okay, and entire, using the water, the quality of water is utmost important in case of parental dosage form. However, it is important for all dosage form, no doubt, but it is utmost care is required, and you will have to go for the quality control and validation for the water here also, which is being used as a vehicle. Okay, it must be prepared under aseptic conditions. The preparation must be done in the aseptic conditions, and it requires a specific and high quality packaging. So these are some major properties of parenterals. Now let us discuss routes of administration. Through various routes we can deliver the drug: oral, rectal, vaginal, injectable. Okay, but within the injectables, within the parenterals, there are the routes. Routes of administration of parenteral dose form can be classified into two categories: primary routes of administration and secondary one, or other routes you can say. So primary routes are intramuscular or intravenous or subcutaneous. Intramuscular, all types of formulations, 0.2 ml is the limit of the volume. You cannot load a huge volume in this primary routes of administration. Intravenous, okay, the huge amount you can give, 1 to 1000 ml, all types of formulation can be delivered. In subcutaneous route, 0.5 to 2 ml, again the volume limitation is there, because the subcutaneous, that space, the subcutaneous layer had the limited space there, so insulin and vaccine kind of formulations can be delivered through subcutaneous route. Other routes include intra-arterial, intrathecal, intraepidural, intraarticular, intracardial, intrapleural. There are so many routes. Okay, so depending upon the biological site, you are going to deliver the drug through the injectable, through the injections. The routes are defined or named on that basis. Now friends, it is the time to discuss the pre-formulation of parenterals. What does the pre-formulation mean? It is act of learning before doing. It is act of learning before doing. Whenever we are preparing any formulation, not just injectables, we have the aim in our mind that we want to develop a formulation which is effective, safe and stable. Okay. For that, we need to assess the physical and chemical properties of a drug substance. You have to analyze, you have to study the physicochemical properties. It forms the basis for the selection of vehicle, other excipients, and for containers and closures also. So depending upon the pre-formulation study of the drug which is going to be administered through the parenteral route, we will plan the formulation, that what is the additive which is going to be added along with the drug, what is the vehicle, what are the other excipients, and also the container and closures. Okay, got my point? Now let me take you again some important properties with respect to the pre-formulation, that what are the major pre-formulation properties which we discuss. However, pre-formulation is entirely a complete science. There are the standard books, pre-formulations available there. Do study if you want to have the expertise in the pre-formulation, because the production part, for the production you must have a thorough pre-formulation of that particular drug with respect to the solubility, pK, pH, solid state characteristics, chemical modification of drug, polymorphism, etc. The polymorphic properties to be studied may vary depending upon the chemical nature of the drug also, and you may have to add more and more things. Okay, Okay, if you are studying, if you got the polymorphism, then you will have to go with the various types of polymorphs available. We'll be discussing it. Now, first take the solubility, pK and pH. Solubility: when a drug substance is dissolved in a unit volume of a solvent to form a saturated solution under specific condition of temperature and pressure is called solubility. You know very well. It is one of the important parameters in pre-formulation of parenteral because most of the parenteral dosage form exists in solution. So it should maintain its properties, consistency and stability in liquid form. So that's why the solubility is utmost important properties in pre-formulation. Solubility is related with hygroscopicity, chemical nature and pK of the salt. In general term, we can say that if the pK, that is acid dissociation constant logarithm, anti-logarithm of acid dissociation constant, is at least 2 units lower than the pH of the medium, complete dissolution can be achieved. It means, again I will like to repeat this line, which is very important, that if the pK is at least 2 units lower than the pH of the medium, complete dissolution can be achieved. Okay, so you will have to take care of pK here. The opposite holds true for basic compounds. Other considerations like dilution prior to administration and the rate of administration, that is dilution, including dilution factor, should also be simulated using in vitro techniques. So pK and other consideration like dilution factors, etc., you must consider when you are going for the pre-formulation. Okay. Now, when a drug substance is dissolved in a liquid, it gets dissociated in ionized and unionized form. The unionized substances are lipid soluble, thus dissolve in lipid material of the membrane and transported by the passive diffusion, and their absorption is rapid in general. Okay. Whereas the ionized substances are lipid insoluble one, therefore their permeation is slow and absorption is poor. So depending upon the ionization status of the species which we got after dissociation of the parent drug, the fate of absorption is defined. Okay, so you will have a crystal clear idea. You must have the crystal clear idea about the ionization status of a molecule under a certain pH condition. Okay. The percentage of ionization can be calculated as for acid compound, pH is equal to pK plus log of ionized drug divided by the log of unionized drug. For basic compounds, pH is equal to pK plus log of unionized drug divided by ionized drug. The degree of ionization depends on the pH. The clear-cut indication is here, as you can see. For acidic drugs, pK ranges from 3 to 7.5, while for basic drugs, pK ranges from 7 to 11. So, by this equation, and can you recall what is this equation called? Please do remember. I am not going to let you know. Please, if you are seeing it in the YouTube, just go through and give your answers in the comment. Okay, simple thing. So let me see your responses. pH value of parenteral products. You know very well that ideal pH 7, pH of blood is generally of 7. In general, it is 7. Above the pH 9, tissue necrosis occurs, and while in the below pH 3, extreme pain at the site of action may occur. So that's why when we are administering a particular drug through the parenteral dosage form, we must take care of pH value of that formulation. Otherwise, it may cause the tissue necrosis or the extreme pain or other side effects may occur. Okay. Solubility, pK and pH. Solubility enhancement can be done. There are so many methods you have studied in the biopharmaceutical also, or also in the industrial pharmacy paper, that you can change the pH, which is favoring the solubility. Co-solvency, by adding the co-solvent there. Dielectric constant alteration is another technique. Solubilization by surfactant, complexation, either you can use in the phospholipid complexation technique, or you can use the cyclodextrin complexation techniques. We have discussed in our series of Swayamprabha lectures about the phospholipid complexation and the cyclodextrin complexation. So please do refer, and soon they will be available in the Swayamprabha channel number 15 YouTube channel. So please do refer these lectures also. Hydrotrophy. Hydrotrophy is another method in which we add another substance which increases the overall solubility. Okay, like you can say urea, you add in the PCM. Okay, that is called hydrotropic method. Okay. Solid dispersion method. Chemical modification of the drug is another important method in which you can prepare the salt of a particular drug. You can chemically modify a prodrug, you can prepare, which is having better solubility as compared to the parental dose, parent molecule. Okay. Care must be taken if you are using the co-solvents, though they increase the solubility, but as they are conjugate acid-base systems, there may be a shift of pK of the buffer or salt, and it may affect the integrity of the formulation. Like there may be precipitation, degradation of the salt. Okay. There might be many consequences. So a formulator should establish a balanced relationship of pH, pK and solubility for successful development of parenteral dosage form. It is utmost essential. You cannot study them in isolation, that pH, pK, solubility. You will have to integrate all these parts and then plan the things. Okay, then plan the parenteral excipients and other requirements for the formulation part. So that's why it is utmost important to study in whole, you can say. Okay. Now coming to the solid state characteristics, we have also studied the solid state characteristic part in our series of lecture on novel system in the Swayamprabha lectures. You can also refer the YouTube channel number 15. Amorphous form. Amorphous form when it exists in undefined structural form. Crystalline form, that crystalline form when it is existing in defined structural form, we call it as crystalline form. So there may be two major classes, amorphous or crystalline form. So crystal form is defined by, or assessed by the XRPD, X-ray powder diffraction, and it yields a sharp peak in case of crystals. Okay, we have also discussed this aspect in our course in industrial pharmacy first. You are welcome to join us in this Swayam. Slow absorption of theophylline monohydrate is there, and prolonged duration of action may be achieved with the help of crystalline theophylline monohydrate. Amorphous form of XRPD reflects the diffuse peak in the X-ray powder diffraction. However, the amorphous form are rapidly absorbed. Crystalline form have the longer duration of action, while the amorphous form have rapid onset of action. Okay, so they provide short duration of action in case of theophylline anhydrous. They are the two examples you can learn: theophylline monohydrate, crystalline, longer duration of action; theophylline anhydrous, amorphous, rapid absorption, short duration of action. Okay. Duration of action is shortened in the amorphous form, while it is increased in the crystalline form, though the crystalline form are not having the rapid onset of action. Okay, so please do, and you might have learned this example with respect to the insulin, semi-lenti, lenti, ultra-lenti. Remember, please do recall. Moreover, the crystalline form of drug can withstand the high thermal stress during sterilization when it is exposed to dry heat or for several hours as compared to amorphous form. For example, penicillin G. Okay, so thermal stress they can bear the crystalline form. Now moving to the chemical modification of the drug. Now there are n number of discussions may be done for each and every kind of pre-formulation parameter, but we are sticking to the overall theme of wrapping up in a single lecture. So chemical modification of drug, solid, you can say when you are going for the sodium and potassium salts, weak acids you prepare in the form of sodium and potassium salt, while for weak bases you develop the hydrochloride and the sulfate salts. If the solubility of a drug is to be reduced to enhance stability or to prepare a suspension, the formulator may prepare water insoluble salts. It is not always required that you go for the solubility improvement. Sometimes you require decreasing solubility. So depending upon your need, you will have to select the kind of salt which may modulate the solubility. I am using the term modulate. It means either you can improve or decrease depending upon your requirement. You can select a particular salt and then go for the modulation. Okay. Procaine penicillin G decreased solubility 7 mg per ml of which when compared with very soluble penicillin G potassium is utilized to prepare stable parenteral suspensions. So we used procaine penicillin G rather than the simple penicillin G, okay, which has the less solubility, but for improving the stability we use this particular salt of penicillin G. Okay, so you please do remember these examples because they are asked in the examination and they may be asked also in the GPAT examination. So they are utmost important. Please do remember the pinpoint example of improving solubility and decreasing solubility in crystalline form or amorphous form. Remember theophylline we discussed. So now moving to the polymorphism. Several crystal forms of a given chemical exhibit different physical properties. They are called polymorphism. The conversion of one polymorph to another may cause a significant change in the physical properties of the drug, and it is the important formulation. It has important formulation, biopharmaceutical and chemical process implications. The aspects of polymorphism that is of particular concern to the parenteral formulator is the physical stability and bioavailability of the product. And you will have to take care of that if certain kind of polymorphism is being shown by a drug. You must go through that how many polymorphs are existing there. US FDA clearly indicates that you must assess each and every type of polymorph and their each and every type polymorphs physical and chemical properties you must chalk out. For example, cortisone acetate exists in 5 polymorphic forms, but first polymorphic form is the most stable one. Indomethacin exists in 3 polymorphic forms, but 2 polymorphic forms, form 1 and form 2, have higher therapeutic efficacy. Substances that exist in different polymorphic forms must be evaluated for stability in liquid form as well as for its thermal stability as parenteral dosage form have to undergo sterility process. The formulator need to select the suitable form, either amorphous or one or more crystalline form, to develop most optimized formulation. So when you are going for formulation development, search for the most stable one. Don't just focus into the only one domain. Solubility you have to focus, at the same time stability, at the same time therapeutic. So stability, safety and efficacy, 3 things you have to focus in the pre-formulation. Some of the references, and we are also there available in the SWAYAM and the EPG Pathshala with our MOOC Industrial Pharmacy First. So please do refer course and the course content. So let me summarize the content of this lecture. We studied the fundamental concepts, advantage and disadvantage of the parental dosage forms. The trained persons are required. You cannot reverse the effect. There might be this is invasive techniques. The requirement of parental products, the three major aspects: sterility, non-pyrogenicity, and the particulate matter. We studied routes of administration, primary and other routes, among the primary, intramuscular, subcutaneous, okay, and and IV. These IV, IM, SC, three major routes are there, and we studied other routes little bit. Please go through with the other routes and explore them. Important pre-formulation factors like solubility we studied the pre-formulation, the modulation of solubility is required, pre-formulation with respect to the polymorphism, with respect to the salt form, okay, and the solid state characteristic we studied that the crystalline form have got this longer duration of action while the amorphous form have the short quick onset of action, okay, while the short duration of action. So we will have to study our pre-formulation aspect in such a way that we can come up with a stable, safe and effective dosage form, parental dosage form. So hope you have got the essence of the pre-formulation, though it is a very huge topic. I tried to sum up the important aspects for you. We'll be coming up with some more lectures on the parental dosage forms and their productions in our coming lectures. Thank you for being with us. Happy learning.